Since the time that I turned 21 years of age and received my first permit to carry a firearm, I have carried a 1911 base pistol of one size or another ever since. The Colt Mustang, originally manufactured from 1983 to 1996 and reintroduced in 2011, and that was a subcompact pistol, was my first introduction to what would be considered a micro-compact pistol in today's terms. The Colt Mustang was a scaled down to roughly 78% of a full-size M1911 government model. It fired the .380 automatic Colt pistol, developed by firearms designer John Moses Browning, and had a weight of 12.5 ounces, a total length of 5.5 inches, and a barrel length of 2.75 inches. My Mustang was sold in hard times, but the yearning for another has always remained, as it was an excellent pistol, and actually saved my bacon one time when working a loss prevention job, and a shoplifter took exception to my line of work. Let's just say that his plan of using a box cutter on me was altered. I had known about the Armscor Rock Island Armory Baby Rock for some time, but never took the initiative to have one. That was until after I began carrying a Rock Island Armory FS Tactical model as a daily carry. Because of that, I came to appreciate what Rock Island Armory had to offer in the 1911 line and subjected myself to several more. The only chink in the RIA 1911 armor was the missing Baby Rock. Until now. The 1911-based Baby Rock has many features of modern 1911 pistols that were not present on my Mustang, and I'm going to tell you about those in just a minute. In simplest terms, the Baby Rock is a cut-down government model 1911 and is a magazine-fed, recoil-operated, single-action autoloader with an exposed hammer. To bring you the features of the Baby Rock, I'm going to look at it in a new-fashioned way: lock, lower, and upper. The items highlighted in the image that you are now viewing comprise the fire control system, or the lock if you will. These components, when properly mounted and working in perfect harmony with each other, allow the 1911 to fire a chambered cartridge. I have not included things like the extractor, ejector, magazine, nor components associated with these, as they have their own job to do. When talking about the lock system, the primary concern is trigger pull to most. The trigger pull on this pistol is 8 pounds, 12 1/2 ounces, with a 5-pull average, which is within the window of the 7 to 9 pounds stated by the manufacturer. There is a hint of take-up until the wall is filled, a bit of 8 pounds and 12.5 ounces of pull from there, and the hammer releases, if the thumb safety is down and the grip safety is fully pressed in. The Baby Rock, like all 1911 base pistols, is a single action only. The hammer must be cocked for the trigger, the grip safety, and the frame-mounted thumb safety to work, and the pistol to fire. The Baby Rock is built to 70 series specifications. The Series 70 was not the original M1911 platform or the M1911A1. It was the result of decades of changes and improvements. The safety is the most commonly discussed and noteworthy change, however. The Series 80 was created by changing the Series 1970 firing pin safety, or lack thereof. Those changes meant that the gun wouldn't fire until the trigger was completely pressed back. This was accomplished by adding a firing pin block that could only be moved out of the way by the aforementioned trigger press. The Baby Rock is void of this feature, but that doesn't mean that the Baby Rock or any 1911 pistol is not a safe pistol. As I mentioned in the opener, I have carried a 1911 for many years, both 70 and 80 series, with no incidents whatsoever. I consider the 1911 one of the safest firearms to carry, even in condition 1, cocked and locked. Moving on, the black trigger is partially skeletonized, which is different from those found on many pistols, and it has no means for over-travel adjustment. A means to adjust over-travel is not needed, as there is no over-travel to adjust. The hammer, a black skeletonized affair, is of the Commander Royal type and is serrated to ensure a secure thumb hold when cocking or holding the hammer when decocking the pistol. I'll talk about decocking in 1911 later in this presentation. The left side only thumb safety, although part of the frame but directly associated with the fire control group, is slightly extended and has distinct clicks when moved from safe to fire, or vice versa positions. The thumb safety is easily operated with the thumb of the firing or support hand. It will take a tight grip to ensure that the grip safety is disengaged. Press fully inward. That's not to say that the grip safety is hard to compress, but it is to say that because of the size of the grip and that the grip safety does not have a memory bump, the grip of the hand must be adequate enough to press the thumb safety inward enough to do its job, whether riding the safety during shooting or not. Okay, I think that about does it for the lock. Let's move on to the stock, or lower, or frame, whatever. The frame is black parkerized steel, and which houses the necessary fire control group parts, magazine release button, a means to which a set of grip panels can be mounted, and an orifice for the takedown assembly to reside and operate. The metal mainspring housing is serrated, while the front of the grip frame is not. The bottom of the grip frame is contoured to prevent it from cutting into the palm of the hand and to aid in concealment. Not that this is a large pistol to conceal. The trigger guard is smooth and rounded with no undercut. Inside of the frame, you will find a polished feed ramp, the ejector, and what seems to be a properly staked plunger tube, along with the trigger and safety components. Just above the trigger guard, you will find the serial number of the firearm, and forward of that, near the end of the dust cover, you will find M1911A1 380 stamped into the frame. The grip safety, again part of the fire control group, has an adequate enough beaver tail to mitigate slide or hammer bite. Again, there is no memory bump incorporated with the grip safety, which I believe is needed on this pistol, especially if you ride the thumb safety during firing. The grip length, while short, is enough to accommodate the 3 fingers of my hand that do not have anything to do with pulling the trigger. The grip length is longer than that found on the Glock G42 and Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380. The front of the grip extends outward slightly at the bottom. The trigger reach is 2 3/8 inches. The grip panels are rubber and extend slightly beyond the magwell opening of the frame. The bottom of the grip panels hides the magazine base, except for the bottom lip at the base, which is exposed, but in line with the forward lip of the frame. If a magazine were to jam in the frame, it would take a finger or thumbnail to catch the lip of the magazine base to strip the magazine from the frame. The bottom of the grip panels do, for the most part, cover the mainspring housing retaining pin, and although I have never had a problem with a mainspring housing pin walking out of the frame, the grip panels ensure that one doesn't. While the rubber grip panels provide a good grip, I'm just a wood and steel kind of guy. A set of American flag Walnut Rock Island 380 1911 grips from LS Grips were ordered and placed on the pistol. The bottom of the grip panel did not, however, hide the base plate of the magazine like the standard grips. If they had been cut as the original grips and covered the base plate of the magazine, it would have stayed on, but I decided that I actually liked the grip covering the base plate of the magazine, and that they blend well with the bottom of the rounded mainspring housing. So, in this rare case, I decided not to change out the original grip panels. One thing that I need to mention is, unlike a large frame 1911, the Baby Rock does not incorporate grip screw bushings. The grip screws are inserted directly into the frame, and being such means that you should refrain from over-tightening the screws, as damaging the screw threads might mean a visit to your local gunsmith. The undershroud, or dust cover of the frame, almost but not quite blends in with the angled point of the slide. This is not a deal breaker, but I thought that I would mention it for the perfectionist among you. Almost last on the list of frame features is the magazine button. The magazine button is a miniaturized version of a full-size magazine button. Small, but is easily accessible by the thumb. This pint-sized button does its job well, holding a magazine in the well and releasing it from the well as needed. Last on the list is the magazine, and only one is provided, and it has a 7-round capacity. The provided magazine inserts easily into the magazine well, locks into place nicely, and exits just as nicely when the magazine button is pushed. The magazine has a steel follower and seems to be a metal form product, as that logo is stamped on the floor plate. If the RIA Baby Rock is based on a 1911 Colt Mustang, then magazines for the Colt Mustang should work. Finding them is one thing, procuring them is another. I searched several magazine suppliers for Baby Rock magazines. While I found them, they were out of stock. Fortunately for me and my FFL, he was able to locate some in stock, and 3 spares were ordered. The magazine has witness holes in the side for cartridge counting, and although the magazine is somewhat easy to load without an Uplula single-stack loading tool, one sure makes it easier when you try to load those last 2 rounds. There is no way that I would carry a pistol, let alone a revolver, with just a primary load of ammunition. By the way, the Baby Rock will fire with the magazine removed. Okay, last in the features lineup is the barrel. That, of course, for a pistol means the entire slide assembly, or what I will simply call the upper. The black parkerized steel slide houses the barrel bushing, recoil spring and guide rod plug, associated fire control group components like firing pin spring, and firing pin stop, and the external slide extractor, spring, and slide extractor pivot pin. The slide also provides a handy place to put sights. Fancy that! Front and rear sights are ramped to prevent snagging and are void of any sighting aids such as dots and such. The sights, as with the pistol itself, are small, but do provide a good sight picture with adequate side space between the sides of the front sight and the inside notch of the rear sight. Sight radius is around 4 3/4 inches. It should be obvious that the Baby Rock is a point and shoot pistol and not intended for targets beyond arm's reach. The rear sight is drift adjustable for windage, while the front sight is fixed into place with a very small hex head screw. The slide is also a convenient place to put stamping and markings, which Rock Island Armory has chosen to do so, but with prudence. On the left side rear is a small version of the Rock Island Armory logo, and this is the only marking on the slide. Thank you, Rock Island Armory. Front and rear serrations are incorporated into the slide. These are cut well into the slide and provide a good surface to grab for press checking, pushing or pulling the slide to the rear, or holding the slide while closing it on an empty chamber. I never let a slide slam forward on an empty chamber. The 3 7/8 inch black parkerized hammer forged steel barrel is not a bull barrel type, and it is not a fixed barrel, as found in many blowback operated pistols like the Walther PPK and others, nor is it a swing length type barrel like that found on larger 1911 pistols. It is a tilting barrel that was originally designed by John Moses Browning. The takedown pin holds the barrel in place while letting the barrel float, if you will. During recoil, the slide moves forcibly to the rear. This movement lifts the barrel slightly, which moves the chamber down slightly where it can accept a fresh cartridge. A bit of free play at the chamber end almost guarantees that the chamber will accept the feeding of a new cartridge. A polished feed ramp looks like any other standard 1911 barrel, except smaller. The barrel has no locking lugs, nor does the slide. When in battery, there is no barrel nor slide movement. This was tight as, well, you can put your own locution here. With that said, pushing the slide to the rear needs some effort to do so, especially if the hammer is not cocked. Thus far, I have not mentioned the extractor per se, so let me do that now. The Baby Rock has an external extractor that has caused some 1911 purists to begin foaming at the mouth while explaining that no, 1911 should have a external extractor. It's just un-American. Having had and currently owning pistols with external extractors has proven to me that they do the job of extracting spent cartridges from the chamber, 1911 pistol or not. I have a couple of Smith & Wesson E-Series 1911 pistols, and all have run perfectly with external extractors. While John Moses Browning incorporated an internal extractor into his design of the 1911, it was for a very good reason: to keep dirt and debris from interfering with the extraction process during the rigors and environment of combat. What I can say here is that I have yet to tune an external extractor, but I have tuned many internal extractors on quite a few of my 1911 pistols that have them. The spring-loaded external extractor on the Baby Rock works just fine. Thank you. Well, with all of the features out of the way, let's move on to maintenance of the Baby Rock. Maintenance of the Baby Rock is as straightforward as that of any 1911 with a standard guide rod. But first, let's do a safety check. Point the pistol in a safe direction, with the trigger finger outside of the trigger guard. Press the magazine release button and remove the magazine. Pull or push the slide to the rear and lock it into place with the slide stop. Inspect the chamber and magazine well to ensure that the gun is empty, and remove all ammunition from the immediate vicinity. Now we can disassemble the Baby Rock. Since the hammer is cocked from clearing the firearm, set the thumb safety to the safe position. This prevents the slide from moving to the rear when removing the guide rod bushing. Keep your face away from the muzzle while performing the takedown procedure. Not doing so could result in serious injury. Push the recoil spring plug down enough so that the barrel bushing can be turned. Push the barrel bushing to the left until it clears the recoil spring plug, while keeping constant pressure on the recoil spring plug. Once the barrel bushing clears the recoil spring plug, slowly release the recoil spring's spring tension. Remove the recoil spring plug. The recoil spring may come out with it, and that is fine. Place the thumb safety in the down position to allow movement of the slide. Move the slide to the disassembly notch on the left side of the frame. Push in the takedown pin from the right side. Remove the takedown unit from the frame. pull or push the slide off of the frame. Remove the guide rod. Twist the barrel bushing to the right and remove the barrel bushing. Finally, remove the barrel from the front of the frame. Field stripping of the Baby Rock is now complete. This is the point where I steer you to the user's manual for the pistol. As I only allocate so much time for my video reviews, and detailed cleaning and lubrication would put me over my limit. I am assuming that you may already be familiar with cleaning and lubricating a 1911 pistol. If not, that information can be found in the user's manual and all over the YouTube site. Assembling the Baby Rock is pretty close to what you would perform with a full-size 1911 with a standard short guide rod, with minor differences. So, let's put the Baby Rock back together. Hold the slide so that you can see the inside of the slide. Insert the barrel into the slide until it is fully seated. Insert the barrel bushing into the slide over the barrel and flush against the front of the slide. Twist the barrel bushing clockwise until it stops. While keeping the bottom of the slide facing up, install the guide rod and insert the recoil spring over the guide rod. Note that the recoil spring is painted white on one end. This end is inserted first. While keeping the bottom of the slide facing up, install the slide assembly to the frame until the recoil spring is inside the dust cover of the frame. Reposition the pistol and move the slide to the disassembly notch in the frame. Insert the takedown assembly into the frame while using a straight downward motion to push the takedown assembly into the frame. This lessens the chance that you will scratch the frame or slide while installing the takedown assembly. Push the takedown assembly in until it is fully in the frame. I have found that when the pistol is new, using a jeweler's flat tip screwdriver to compress the takedown spring that is inside of the plunger tube may be necessary to start the locking portion of the takedown assembly into place. Push the slide fully forward and then place the thumb safety lever in the safe up position. As with field stripping in 1911, this prevents the slide from moving to the rear. As a word of caution, keep your face away from the muzzle while performing this next procedure. Not doing so could result in serious injury. With the muzzle facing upward, assemble and install the recoil spring and recoil spring plug. Push the recoil spring plug and recoil spring down until the lip of the guide rod bushing is just below the barrel bushing. Twist the barrel bushing counterclockwise and into place over the recoil spring plug, and then release the tension of the recoil spring plug so that it is against the barrel bushing. Assembly of the Baby Rock is now complete, and we can move on to the function check. At this point, I load one or more snap caps into the magazine and load the magazine into the pistol. My reasons are several. First, when the hammer drops and the firing pin is forced forward, it is protected by the snap cap. Second, I can rack the slide and check for extraction. Third, in racking the slide, I can also check for ejection. And fourth, I can check for any out-of-battery condition that may exist, at least with the snap caps. Push the thumb safety to the fire position and release the slide, which chambers the first snap cap. Place the thumb safety in the up or safe position. Without pressing the grip safety, attempt to pull the trigger. The hammer should not fall. Place the thumb safety in the down or off safe position. Again, while not pressing the grip safety, pull the trigger. The hammer should not fall. Press the grip safety in and pull the trigger. The hammer should now fall. If the hammer falls when the trigger is pulled, with either the thumb safety in the safe up position or the grip safety not fully pressed in, seek professional help for your pistol. You have an unsafe condition. Pull the slide to the rear and check that extraction works and the snap cap is ejected from the pistol. Repeat until all snap caps are ejected from the pistol. The slide should lock back after the last snap cap is ejected, assuming that you pull the slide far enough to the rear. Also inspect the firing pin to ensure that it does not protrude past the face of the firing pin channel opening. Once the function check has passed muster, the Baby Rock is ready to load and rock. But first, I am going to demonstrate how to properly decock an unloaded or even a loaded 1911 pistol, or any hammer-fired pistol that does not have a decocking mechanism. Knowing how to properly decock a 1911-based pistol is essential to prevent injury or death to you or others, and to prevent damage to anything the barrel would be pointed at. This knowledge can carry over to pistols like the CZ, except for the BD series, and other hammer-fired pistols with no decocking mechanism. Pistols like Sig Sauer, Versa, and Beretta pistols are excluded. Some, and I don't know why, prefer to carry a 1911 in condition 2, hammer down on a live cartridge. While the preferred method by the military in the early days of 1911s, most 1911 operators of today prefer to carry condition 1, cocked and locked. And just to digress a bit, in one of the Jesse Stone TV series, I don't remember which movie, and which starred Tom Selleck, I noticed that he carried his 1911 in condition 2. In one segment, he was holding the pistol to his side as he walked up to his house. As he walked, he cocked the hammer. I don't remember him putting the thumb safety on, although he may have, and it was just not filmed, as Tom Selleck is a gun-savvy person. And I don't remember the specific scene after he walked into the house, but it did not involve shooting the pistol. And I don't remember what he did to safe the pistol, but I do know that he had two choices. Either place the thumb safety to the safe position for condition 1 mode, or decock the pistol, placing it in condition 2, and then holstering it. I do remember that he did not decock the pistol. For those of us that own, shoot, and carry hammer-fired pistols, we occasionally find ourselves in a position where manual decocking is called for. Lowering a hammer over a live round poses obvious risk. Murphy's Law is always in effect, and the consequences of doing it wrong, well, that doesn't need explanation. Now, some people believe that you should never manually decock a pistol with a loaded chamber. Decocking should only take place with an unloaded pistol. I agree with that. When handling a pistol or revolver that I am pondering the purchase of, I always manually lower the hammer rather than just pulling the trigger and letting the hammer free fall. It's just a matter of courtesy on my part to the owner of the firearm. Like with anything else, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. I'm going to go over the right way. You can safely decock a pistol in 4 easy steps. It's pretty simple, but requires that you perform these steps with great care, attention, and effort. If there's a key to doing this, it's doing it slowly. If you take your time, you will never have an issue. Point the gun in a safe direction and finger outside of the trigger guard. This needs no explanation, but in case something goes wrong, well, you get the idea. And did I say not to put your finger on the trigger at this time? Pinch the hammer firmly with the forefinger and thumb of your non-shooting hand. Don't ride the hammer down with just your thumb. Use your free hand. The cowboy method of decocking a hammer, as with a single-action revolver, just does not work here. While holding the hammer, squeeze and hold the trigger. You want to be firmly pinching the hammer so that the hammer doesn't move as you initially squeeze the trigger. You will feel the hammer release when you press the trigger far enough for the sear to clear the cocking notch in the hammer. Then, slowly ride the hammer down. Don't slow the hammer down. Stop the hammer and then ride it down until it comes to rest. Phew, that's out of the way. Let's see what the baby will do at the range. Or is this more of what I can do with the baby at the range? With some S&B 9mm Browning Court 92 grain FMJ and Sig Sauer V-Crown Elite Defense 90 grain JHP on hand, I hope that the Baby Rock would live up to the standard that I had set for it, and that is to be reliable and as accurate as I can make it be. It was time to check POA and POI, make adjustments as necessary, and run some Mozambique drills. Due to the pistol being new and my inability to adequately press the grip safety at times, there were a few errors, which I am showing now. Otherwise, the Baby Rock ran flawlessly. Felt recoil is straight back into the web of the hand. A tight hold on the pistol takes up some, but not all, of the felt recoil. My issue was not enough grip to hold, as with my larger 1911s. This is not a gripe with this particular pistol, but all subcompact and compact pistols without enough girth for my hand. Running Mozambique drills was not a problem. The Baby Rock requires a 6 o'clock hold, and I was able to walk up and down on the target with relative accuracy. One shot went low left, but that was me trying to get accustomed to the somewhat healthy trigger pull weight. The grip safety needs a little attention. Without a memory bump and without a very firm grip, I sometimes managed not to press the grip safety correctly. I could feel the trigger shoe riding past the disconnector, which I may polish to correct that foible. For the first day and the first 150 shots with the Baby Rock, I am predicting that once broken in and tuned, the Baby Rock will run like a top. I am also going to polish the already polished feed ramp a bit more to better ensure proper feeding. By the way, the Baby Rock functioned fine with Sig Sauer hollow point ammunition. As with all micro-compact pistols, the Baby Rock is easily concealable. And inside the pants holster, like the DeSantis Nemesis, is an excellent holster in which to house the Baby Rock in a pants pocket. For those who like shoulder holster systems, a horizontal shoulder holster from Felco may fit the bill, and which allows you to carry 2 magazines for your running spares. Many holsters, ranging from IWB, OWB, Billy, Appendix, etc., from many holster manufacturers are available for the Colt Mustang. They should work with the Baby Rock. And also, there are holsters specifically for the Baby Rock itself. Now, let's head to the last say on the Baby Rock. It is said that a machine is only as good as the sum of its parts. If I exclude the operator, me, I can say that the Baby Rock operates with the best of 1911s. I like that it is modeled after the 1911, a pistol that I am highly familiar with. I like the heft of the pistol. At 1 pound 10.5 ounces with a full 7+1 round complement of cartridges, it is nicely balanced. While I'm not a fan of the heavy trigger pull weight, I am a fan of the lower felt recoil as compared to some other polymer frame micro compacts that I have shot. By comparison of the 380 ACP pistols that I recently evaluated and shot, the Glock G42 weighs 1 pound 0.8 ounces loaded with a full complement of 6+1 cartridges, and the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380 weighs 14.5 ounces with a full complement of 6+1 cartridges. However, both of these pistols exhibit more felt recoil than that of the Baby Rock. With the Baby Rock, you get an all-steel, recoil-operated 380 ACP pistol with a mild recoil impulse, is accurate at close distances, and is reliable with JHP ammunition. The 3 7/8 inch barrel of the Baby Rock is longer than that of the Glock G42 and Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380, and while short, and while minuscule in muzzle velocity of a short barrel 9mm pistol, any help in the velocity department will help the 380 ACP. In short, again, no pun intended, the Baby Rock would be an ideal pistol for me to carry in a suitable holster, condition 1, cocked and locked, in a pants pocket, in a small fanny pack, or even a vest pocket. The grip length of the Baby Rock, as compared to the 380 ACP pistols that I recently reviewed, allow all fingers that are not used for firing the pistol to fit on the grip, with no magazine extensions. Overall, I am very pleased with what I hold in my hand, a miniature version of a 1911 that is chambered for a light-firing cartridge. It is a hoot to shoot and very handy-dandy little pistol. If you like the 1911, you should check out the Baby Rock that emulates its larger cousins. Well, my friend, it is time to end this chapter, and I'm glad that you were able to join me in this journey with the Rock Island Armory Baby Rock. I am planning more gun and gear reviews, and I hope that you will join me for those. In the meantime, stay safe out there.